Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This video is the second video in a series about the Farmall M we picked up down in northern New Jersey. So in the first video we drug it home, figured out pretty quickly that the motor was stuck, and did the work that you're seeing right now. Jumped straight into pulling the head off because, as you can see, it was full of mouse nests. Luckily, with some persuasion, I was able to get the motor freed up, as well as using my little homemade tool there. Another unique feature about this tractor is the M&W hand clutch. It was all seized up, so I pulled that off in the last video as well. So in this video, we're going to jump straight into reassembling the head, trying to put the motor together, and see if we can get the tractor to run and maybe even drive.
Okay, I got the hardware off and all the valves except for the two on the ends. So we're not looking good in the valve seat department. This one, probably clean that one up just with a wire brush. That one's good, that one's good, that one need a little cleanup. That one, yeah, that's rough. That one fine, and that one's really bad too. So let's take this one apart, see what it looks like.
So I didn't explain this in the video, but the head I just disassembled was off of an M that I restored a few years ago. I ended up putting a 450 LP head on that tractor, so the head that come off it was just in storage. I thought I remembered that head being in better condition than it actually was. It pretty much needs to go to the machine shop in order to be usable. So we're tearing apart the head off of the tractor right now, and we'll see if that one's in any better shape.
Alright, I got both of the heads cleaned up. The original one off the tractor actually turned out to be in better shape. The valve seats looked better than the other one. I did have to use two of the valves from that head. Obviously you could see because I broke the ones that were originally here. So I cleaned all the rust and stuff off all the valves, cleaned out the ports. Now I have lapping compound. I'm going to start at the bottom, work my way up, lapping them with the drill. So I put a little bit of lapping compound, put some oil on the valve stem, and then just go like that. Maybe go the other direction. And we'll do that on all of them. I'll clean them all up and then check if any of them need any more lapping.
So you'd be surprised what you can get away with on these old tractor engines. Those valve seats were probably in a condition where most people would have sent the head to a machine shop to have the seats cut, but enough patience and time with the drill and some lapping compound, and you can get them cleaned up just fine. So the reason I don't bring most stuff to machine shop is just for lack of a shop that's set up to do engines like this for a reasonable price in a reasonable time frame. They just don't exist around me. When I can convince a shop to take an engine like this, it's not cheap and usually takes a while, and what's the fun in that? I try and do everything myself.
So all the valves are installed now, and you may have noticed in the time lapse I used the flashlight in the port in the head around all the valves, and you can't see any light coming around the seats on any of them. So this head should be ready to be installed I also cleaned the gasket surfaces. Alright, a couple things I want to do before putting the head on. I want to crank the engine over more with the battery. But before I can do that, I want to drain any water that's potentially in the oil. So hopefully there's no water in here, but you never know. Now that, maybe a couple drops, but I mean, that's nothing compared to what I have seen come out of these engines. So I just made up some new battery cables real quick and put a new starter switch. So now it cranks over easy. Get this stuff cleaned up and throw the head on. So this is a multi-layer gasket with steel on either edges, on either side. I put some of that copper spray sealant on it. That's why it looks like copper. Well, I forgot to press record, but you know, normally if I forget to press record, putting something on, I'll take it off real quick and then video putting it on. But not for this. So I got, you remember, washers go on those studs, throttle bracket goes here. Let's get the head bolts on, or head nuts. All right, these get torqued to 110 foot-pounds. I'm gonna do it in 3 steps. I'm gonna go 50, then 90, then 110. And I'm gonna mark them with a paint marker in between each step. That way at the end I know, make sure I have 3 dots on all of them. And I'll start in the middle and kind of rotate out. Sounds good cranking it over at least. So before I put the thermostat housing back on, need to get some new hose. So we can come over here to the hardware store, pick out some pieces that'll work. Alright, for the ignition system, see I already put a new coil here. I got the old points and condenser removed. So you have new rotor, new points, new condenser, new plugs, new cap. Got wire to go to the coil. I even have a new ignition switch that goes here. So that's the original harness clamp, and since it's still in place, I'm going to use it. Same with all the rest of them. This is actually a pretty original tractor. I mean, aside from the M&W stuff, this hasn't been messed with all that much. And I think the M&W stuff adds value.
Right. This is CBS FM.
Alright, plugs are in. I put the cap on. This coil wire was good. I don't have any more spark plug wire, so I'm gonna see what I can come up with here. These ends seem fine. I might crimp new ends here. I don't know if the wires are going to be long enough though. Alright, I just took these off something else. One. So the distributor spins clockwise looking at it from this side. Cylinder number 1 is this position, and then you just go by the firing order. So 1, then 3, and that back goes to 4, and this one goes to 2. So we should be all set in this department. Now we just need fuel, and I already got the carburetor rebuilt, so we can throw that on now.
I know you want to keep doing stuff.
Alright, should have spark. We got fuel hooked up. Let's turn the fuel on, and hopefully it doesn't come pouring out. I was having some trouble with the float when I was
See if the spark plugs are sparking.
It's because I have all the spark plug wires on backwards. So I said a second ago, I'm putting the spark plug wires on. I said this was cylinder number 1 for some reason. That's not right. That one goes over there to cylinder number 1. This one goes to cylinder number 3. This one goes to number 4. This one goes to number 2. Okay. Now let's see if that makes any difference. It's not gonna run, you need to take the pistons out.
No.
Alright, I shut it off because there's only water to about here in the radiator in the block. So I need to top that off, and I'll put the valve cover on and then run it for a little longer. Let's see how it restarts. So I was waiting for the rain to stop, or this little drizzle, but it doesn't seem like it's going to, so let's just do stuff in the rain. I'm gonna let the engine run for a little, warm up the oil. Man, it runs good. Could still use some tuning on the car, but I want to put a fan belt on here. That also turns the water pump. Then I can let it run for even longer. So these take a 42-inch belt. And you'll see later the alternator kit I put on, but it's a part number 6833 Gates belt for that alternator. So we obviously have to put the alternator belt on first, because that pulley's on the inside. And the way I do these is you just put it over each fan blade and spin the fan. Okay, let's see if I can slip this belt on. Oh, let's go. Nice. That's loose, but we can tighten it up later. Just hang that out of the way. I hate draining oil when it's windy because it's like it just goes all over the place. It's got a legitimate IH filter on it, an OEM filter. Now I want to drop the hydraulic oil because we have to pull this pump out of here to get access to the clutch. See how much water's in here? No water. This fluid actually looks decently clean. This is where you fill the hydraulic oil. So we basically have to take all the fittings off this pump to get it out. So there's one here, two on the other side. We need to take this lever off and the fill port. I'm gonna have to put some heat on that fitting. I don't want that to move. All right, we should be ready to drop that pump now. So this oil check valve, the handle's busted off. I had this one laying around, so we can use it instead. Now we can put oil in the tractor. Just put 15W40 in these. I put a 1540 in basically every tractor. I think these M's hold about 2 gallons. Put some Lucas in it. And we have oil. You can't see it now, but we have oil coming out of that first petcock, so I'll shut that, and by the time the stuff in here drains down, we'll be about at the second petcock, so we should be good. And I'll just let this Lucas drip into here for a little while. Alright, check it out. We got really lucky with this one. I got the clutch ratchet strap down, and you can see the input shaft. You can see the input shaft there is not turning, and the clutch freed itself up. So I probably didn't even have to take that off, but, well, if I didn't take that off, the clutch would have been a pain to unstick, but I took it off, so now, of course, it went easy. So now, it'll go in and out of gear. Alright, now I want to put, I have a new water temperature gauge, because the old one, the face is all rusted. Yeah, you could see that wasn't working. Is there pressure? That wasn't too bad. Got to be careful with these inner nuts. It's easy to strip them out. It's cheap metal they make these out of. And there's no like medium quality gauges. You're either getting like the $10 ones or you're spending like 150 bucks. This is what actually drives that hydraulic pump. There's the counter shaft in the transmission. Comes down and uses this coupling.
This is tilted.
Email them. Find me a way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com. Labor Day savings are happening right now at the Home Depot. So what are you working on all season long? Labor Day savings.
I'm gonna get rid of that T that was here and just thread this straight into the 90. No reason to have those extra fittings. This hose has a hole in it. Look at that. Not really any reason to connect this hose since it has that hole in it. think that's off, and that's on. And turning this on just circulates fluid to that valve in the back, the two-way valve. I don't want to put this on a shorter nipple. This guy's in pretty rough shape. Here's another view at that hole. Right there. Alright, now we're gonna put the tire on. I'm not gonna worry about this or getting this hydraulic valve working right now. Still need to get a cylinder for that anyway. Alright, check it out. We got the outer disc cleaned up, as well as the inner splines for the M&W hand clutch. Here's the old disc, or one of the old discs, and here's the new one that Foley's sent me. This one is made by WPT Power. It's a part number 10-064, in case you need one. It's about twice as thick as the original disc. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run these two discs and one metal in between, see if that's gonna work. I mean, this is all I could find, so it's the only option to use right now. We'll see if this works, and if it does, you guys will see it, and maybe if one of you guys is looking to replace the frictions in their M&W, this could be a potential solution. So first I'm going to put a friction. Now we can put one steel and the new friction. And you can see that gets us pretty close to where we want to be. And then the outer disc. Before we get too far though, we need to put the springs in there. I'm not sure how they want you to do this. I'm gonna have to figure this out.
So I didn't explain it in this video, but the reason I'm putting a new friction in there is because two of the old ones I destroyed when I was removing them. I didn't realize how hard it would be to find new frictions. They're essentially impossible to find for a Farmall M M&W hand clutch. That's why I had to track this one down from Foley's in Worcester, Massachusetts. I actually ended up talking to the guy on the phone and matching up outer and inner dimensions, and this is one that he had on the shelf. It's just obviously the wrong thickness.
Alright, so I got this cover on. You can kind of see how this works here. This lever engages with this outer ring, which kind of curls underneath this inner ring. The inner ring has a notch there, and it's held stationary with that. So in between these two rings there's ball bearings, and those ball bearings are kind of on a ramp. So when you push this handle forwards, it wedges that inner ring against this outer ring and pushes the clutch plates together. So to adjust this clutch, we'll need to tighten this nut down. I guessed when I first tightened them, and pretty far from a correct adjustment, but you can kind of see the point here. As I move that forwards, it kind of notches in and notches out. And according to M&W, we want 30 pounds of force to engage the clutch. So you can see better now. This doesn't really snap in, but it definitely snaps out. Alright, now I'm going to put the locking plates on this cover, then we'll put this back on the hitch, see about driving it. Alright, I got everything buttoned up, put the linkage back on for the brakes on the left side. Should be ready to start it and try and drive it for the first time. I don't know if you saw that, but the hand clutch works. Well, there you go. A week from when we picked this tractor up, and we brought it back from the dead. Took the head off, got the motor freed up, dropped the belly pump to free up the clutch, new friction in the hand clutch. Didn't do much to the mower aside from free up that wheel in the back. It wouldn't swivel. Put a new tube in that tire, rebuilt the carb and the distributor, and we're off to the races. You can see I put the new alternator on. I have not wired it in yet. This is a kit you can get from Steiner. Alright, I'm gonna wrap up this video here. I know we didn't really use the tractor for anything, and it still needs a couple small things, but we did a decent amount of work in this video, so I'm gonna cut it off. And I'm also going back to school tomorrow, so I don't know when you guys will see this, but it's currently August 21st or something like that. So we made pretty good progress. We got the tractor running and driving, and the hand clutch working. Little things that it needs: the pitman arm for the sickle bar, it needs a cylinder for the sickle bar, a hydraulic line, and the fuel tank needs cleaned out, and a couple holes need to be patched. It also has a pinhole in the oil pan, so oil is seeping out of it, so we'll have to fix that, as well as wire up the alternator. I want to wire up headlights and the headlight switch. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching if you made it this far, and stay tuned for the next one.